What's going on, everyone? My name is Peter McKinnon. Welcome back to a brand new exciting video. Whoa! No, it's not actually Peter McKinnon. What's going on? I hope you're having a fantastic day. Today we're doing something that I'm pretty excited about. We are going to be doing a continuation of a video I made a couple months ago. A couple months back, I made a video talking about how I take Instagram pictures by myself, and I think it sort of struck a chord, if you will, and a lot of people out there who struggle because they want to take Instagram pictures. They want to take Instagram pictures with themselves in the photo, but they don't really have anyone to take those photos for them. I struggle with that a lot, and it seems like a lot of you guys do as well. So today we're doing a part 2 of that video. We're gonna be talking about how I took this photo and turned it into this photo right here. It just took a little bit of pre-planning and editing and some good stuff like that. So if you guys do enjoy this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe down below, and let's hop on the computer and start talking about how I approached and how I edited this photo. Alright everyone, so we're inside of Adobe Lightroom right now. This is where I do all of my color grading for the most part for my photos. I do a mixture of Adobe Photoshop and Adobe Lightroom. So here's essentially what happened. I was outside just wandering around trying to take some photos, and I came across, so I'll make this bigger, this really cool bridge structure right here with this nice water. I got down a little bit lower, and as you guys can see right here, I started getting some photos of the reflections of the water, and I thought this looked super cool. Now the issue was, as you guys can see, there's water surrounding all of this. But it was far away and pretty much unattainable unless I wanted to take a dive in that water, which I did not. So at first I tried to look around and see if there was a way to access it or try to find a spot that was similar, that was closer. There was a structure I could get to, but it just wasn't quite as nice of a shot as this one. So in that moment, I decided what I was gonna do. I was just gonna Photoshop myself onto this structure. So I got down, took a whole bunch of different photos of this structure, and then after I did that, during the same time, during the same lighting, I went and started taking a bunch of photos using that intervalometer that we talked about in the first part of this video, and I took a whole bunch of photos of myself just standing there with my skateboard, sort of walking. Now there's two super important things that I did here to make it easy to Photoshop myself into the first photo. One of the things that I did is I made sure that I was doing it in similar lighting. Because I filmed this in the same spot, in the same location, at the same time of day, the lighting on my face is very similar to the lighting that was cast on that bridge. It wasn't identical, but I knew that was going to make it easier for me to sort of blend the images together in Photoshop. The second thing I did that's pretty nuanced and kind of obvious, but it's important, and I did think about this when I shot the photo, is I stood on cement. Now the reason I did that instead of standing on the grass is because I knew I was gonna have to cut my feet out, and if there was grass sort of wrapping around my feet, it would have made it super difficult for me to sort of mask it out. So I made sure I was standing on cement, sort of standing at the same general angle that I knew I'd want to be standing in post, and then I just took a bunch of pictures. So that was sort of the pre-planning for this photo, and pre-planning is so important. If I hadn't thought about Photoshopping myself into this structure, I never would have done any of that stuff. So make sure you're actually thinking about post when you're taking your pictures. The next thing I did is I chose the photo of the structure that I wanted, and then I went ahead and added on my blue shadows preset. If you guys want to download this preset and use it for your photos, you guys can download it below completely for free. And then after that, I cropped this photo into the Instagram 4x5, and I lined up the bottom of this structure right here with this rule of thirds. And that's important. It's just more aesthetically pleasing when you have those proportions, because we have 1/3 of the image is the water reflection, and then the upper 2/3 is the actual structure. And then I went over to this angle right here, and I just sort of adjusted it to try to level it out and make it look flat. Actually, no, I don't think I did that. I think I went down to the upright function and I selected auto. That transform effect is kind of fluky. Sometimes it's amazing, sometimes it's not. So I usually just try it once. If it works, it works. And if it doesn't, then I just do it manually. Cool, so after I did that, I went ahead and right-clicked and hit edit in Adobe Photoshop. And that automatically brings it right into our Photoshop. And then I went back into Lightroom, and I found the pose of myself that I wanted to use. I forget exactly which one it was, to be totally honest with you. So we're just gonna go with this one. I'm not sure if this is the exact one I used, but it doesn't really matter. So we're just gonna select it, edit in Adobe Photoshop. Now in Photoshop, I went ahead and duplicated this layer by hitting Control J on PC or Command J on Mac, and I zoomed in on myself, and I went up to my pen tool, and I just started masking myself out. Now, it's kind of funny because when I was doing this for the first time, I did it super bad, like poorly. I didn't take that much time with it at all because I was just testing it out to see if it would work, but then it ended up working really well, and I just used the poorly done version. So I didn't actually take that much time with the mask. I just did a rough outline to try to make it look natural. Now, once you've completed the mask, one thing that took me so long to learn and I resisted doing for such a long time is you need to be using masks, not just duplicating the selected part of the image. So to select it, I'm gonna hit Control Enter on PC. And now what I used to do is I would just duplicate this. So I'd hit Control J and then we'd have this cutout version. But the issue is that I have no more control over that image. No matter what I do, I can't bring back any of the edges or adjust the sides because I just duplicated it. I didn't use a mask. So what we're gonna do, select it and then go down to this little rectangle with a circle in it and just select that, and that creates our masked out layer. Now this is perfect, and now what we can do, and this is really important once again, is we go over to this select and mask function, and you select this refine edge brush tool, and then you just start kind of going along the edges, refining it. So there we go, but now we have our selected version, and I'm gonna go ahead and drag this layer up to the top and drop it down onto the first photo. I'm gonna go ahead and scale this down. Now, one thing I always struggle with these composites of people is trying to get the proportions to be right. I did a composite a while back and I ended up making myself about as tall as a train. Not good, so you wanna make sure you try to avoid that. And I also flipped myself horizontally by right-clicking, flip horizontal. I thought it just lined up with the composition more naturally. And then I actually brought myself down a bit. I kind of had my foot bleed into the floor. So then I duplicated the background, masked it out, inverted it, and then I took my brush tool and I just painted back in the ground. So it kind of looks more natural. All right, perfect. So that's looking really, really solid. Now it's all just about blending, just experimenting, trying to get the photo right. I like contrast. I like true black in my photos. Not everyone has that style, but I personally like it. So what I did to make myself blend better with this image is I went to Image Adjustments, Levels, and I just took these midtones right here and I just dragged them down a bit to make myself a little bit darker. All right, cool. So now the last thing that we're gonna do for this tutorial is we're gonna select the file of myself right here. We're gonna duplicate it and we're gonna rename this reflection. Now I'm gonna select it, the transform function, right click on the selection. I'm gonna go up to edit, transform, and then flip vertical. And now I'm gonna use my keyboard right here and I'm just gonna select the down arrow key and I can select shift. And what I'm trying to do here is just line up bottom of my foot, top of my foot, if that makes sense. Now I can just take this reflection layer, go up to the blending mode, select where it says normal, and change it to overlay. And now it's kind of blending seamlessly in with the water reflection. It's kind of funny, a good amount of people thought that this reflection was fake. Even my brother did. I sent this to him on Instagram before I posted it. Sometimes I like to do that just to gauge the reaction. And he was like, it looks good, but the reflection looks kind of fake. And I was like, well, the reflection is 100% real. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this gives you some more tips and ideas to think about when you're trying to get photos of yourself for Instagram. There's a bunch of different methods and techniques, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did enjoy this video, I would really, really appreciate it if you give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. And if you guys want, you can follow me on Instagram at AndrewJMES. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.